What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you had a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I found a guy. His channel's name is Infinity. I asked him if we could do some reactions to his videos, and he said yes. So, I'm excited for this now. So what we've got here is scientists are hiding these recent discoveries from us. Y'all need to go check out my boy's channel, Infinity. Subscribe, hit the notifications. And let's check them out. Alright, so our first video
only makes them more interesting.
Scientists.
The main archaeological
Let me get this set up. Alright, I'll figure this out. I could probably go from window to window. That'll probably be quicker. Alright, so here we go. What are scientists hiding from us?
Scientists regularly discover interesting finds, but they don't want to share some of them. After all, otherwise people will learn the truth about ancient genius builders, mysterious creatures, aliens, or even civilizations that existed on the planet hundreds of millions of years ago. This is Infinity, and in this episode I'll show you the mysterious finds that scientists and governments are hiding from us.
Take this and set it over here. Is that better?
The mystery of New Zealand. New Zealand is a very distant country. It is as if on the outskirts of the whole world, and it's not known for anything. Many people know only that the Lord of the Rings was filmed there. However, it has its own mysteries, and the fact that the country is far away only makes them more interesting. The main archaeological mystery of New Zealand is the Kaimanawa Wall on the North Island. This is
How many of you know where New Zealand is? I have no clue. But they're talking about this rock wall. Look at those trees just growing out of it.
part of a kind of wall made of rectangular stone blocks, each of which is about 3 feet high and about 6.5 feet long and weighs several tons. Some of the blocks have separated and gaps have formed between them, but some are fitted together with such pinpoint accuracy and perfect calculation that not even a knife blade can pass between them. Reminds you of something? Yes, of course, it reminds you of the Egyptian pyramids, the blocks of which are said to be the same. Apparently, the blocks of the Kaimanawa Wall, which had separated earlier, were also fitted to each other just as perfectly. Horizontal lines are traced between the blocks, and this gave scientists reason to think that in fact they found only the top of the wall. There's an assumption that a huge structure is hidden underground.
Oh, wow.
It's not even close to a natural formation. It's obvious that people built the wall, and here we get to the most interesting thing: who and how built such a structure? Firstly, the Maori people, the indigenous population of New Zealand, have never built anything like this, and they generally did not work much with stones, and even more so at this level. In addition, after estimating the age of the structure, archaeologists concluded that it was erected 500 years before the first Europeans arrived on the island. It turns out that the wall was not erected by Maori or Europeans. Who then built it? Secondly, even if the Egyptian pyramids still raise a lot of questions, then there are even more questions. Who needed to build something like this in such a distant place? After all, as I said, scientists believe that they see only part of the building and that the whole essence is hidden underground. Some even believe that this is part of an underground city with a huge area. And what's most interesting is that after this wall was found, the New Zealand government classified the results of the excavation and forbade scientists to go into details when communicating with other people. But why classify it?
Look, they don't be playing, huh? If they don't want something to be known, well, they're coming after you. They don't be playing.
Turns out that they have something to hide. It's not excluded that the Kaimanawa Wall can be connected to the Egyptian pyramids. Perhaps the structure was erected by an unknown civilization having advanced technology, and the government is trying to hide the discovery. because otherwise the truth about it could change the whole history.
Why are they so worried about changing history? Like, what's the big deal with that? Are they seriously that worried about mind control that even changing history is a big deal? Like, what is the true history? Oh my God, can you imagine?
This is not the only find that can change history. There are others which not only change history, but blow your mind when you find out about them. For example, a wheel in a mine. About 15 years ago, workers were going about their business in the mine, extracting coal, when they suddenly came across an unusual object. They saw a cartwheel in a coal seam.
Whoa, that's definitely a wheel. That is definitely, oh wow, that's crazy.
Or rather, its imprint. You might find that the ancient people once lived there and this is just their artifact. An interesting artifact, but nothing more. However, this is not the case. Firstly, the coal works were carried out at a gigantic depth of almost 3,000 feet. And secondly, the scientists to whom the miners sent pictures of the artifact came to the conclusion that it would take 300 to 350 million years for the wheel to be imprinted in such a way in the coal at such a depth. But how's this possible? After all, 300 million years ago, there were no dinosaurs, let alone people. The miners could not remove the wheel. It was so strongly embedded in the coal that without special equipment, it was impossible to get it out and raise it to the surface. Therefore, the miners asked permission for a more detailed scientific analysis of the artifact. And suddenly, the mine management forbade them to conduct research, and the government tried to hide the details of the whole situation. Coincidentally, shortly after this wheel was discovered, the mine was officially shut down. The equipment was dismantled, and the lower layers were flooded, so now no one will be able to get to this artifact. Strange, isn't it?
Whoa.
Who would benefit from this?
Did he just say what I think
a government
he said? Wait. Did he just say the government's flooded the mine?
And the lower layers were flooded, so now no one will be able to get to this artifact.
Flooded it.
Strange, isn't it? Who would benefit from this? A government that doesn't want ordinary miners rewriting world history and everything we know about mankind? Or someone even more powerful? There are a few other finds, like the London hammer, found in Texas in the 1930s.
What?
This find is believed to be over 400 million years old.
What?
Although scientists try to explain this by saying that the hammer is not really that old, that it simply fell into a rock fissure and was blocked by limestone sediments.
Right.
I'm personally alarmed by such artifacts. Right. I can see why they're afraid to show them to the public or even talk about them. By the way, the next artifacts are also from this group. These artifacts of Abuelos de Jalisco in Mexico. These artifacts were discovered hundreds of years ago and continue to be found in the last century. The Mexican government classified them. They were hidden in secret vaults, and only a few years ago, the government decided to open access to these mysterious items. But why classify them? Because the artifacts could be of alien origin or depict aliens and everything related to them. There are about 400 pieces in the collection, and they may surprise even diehard skeptics. Some artifacts are something like a cast of a head, but this head is clearly not human. That's how we imagine an alien's head, right?
It kind of looks like
Moreover, as I said, the artifacts are hundreds of years old. They were made long before the image of the alien became known in pop culture. Turns out that this is not an image at all, but reality, which is reflected here. The artifacts also depict various alien figurines and strange masks. They also don't look like human ones. There's also something resembling a ritual or some kind of offerings. And one of the artifacts depicts something that strongly resembles a flying saucer with the image of a humanoid creature. Perhaps the arrival of aliens to Earth is depicted here. In one of the artifacts, the theorists saw Saturn, which may hint that aliens do not live somewhere very far away, but right in our solar system. Of course, skeptics began to claim that these are ordinary artifacts of the Maya civilization or other civilizations that lived on the territory of modern Mexico. But why classify the data in this case? After all, everyone knows about the Maya
Classified,
and the
huh?
ruins of their cities, and artifacts have long been part of history. Moreover, scientists and the government refuse to show these finds for a long time. This leads to troubling thoughts. As for me, such finds more and more strengthen the belief that aliens are absolutely real, and they look exactly as we imagine them. There's another secret find related to aliens. I think you've all heard about the Roswell incident. This is when a UFO crashed in the USA in 1947. That event is considered the origin of all of these stories and conversations about aliens. That was not the only incident.
1947.
Something similar happened in England when, in 1957, a miniature UFO crashed in the Silpho Moor area in North Yorkshire.
UFO.
Of course, everyone had already heard about the Roswell incident, so the government ordered scientists to urgently go to the site, pick up everything, and take it to the museum. Eyewitnesses recalled that soon after that, black vans with people in dark suits drove up to the museum, who hastily took away several boxes with unknown objects. Only not so long ago, these objects were shown to the public. These were small fragments of an object that was supposedly a flying saucer. In addition to the saucer, scientists also found a message, a mysterious book with pages made out of copper in which there was a message of 2,000 words. It's not known how, but scientists managed to decipher and translate the message. Its author was an alien named Ulo. He warned mankind about the danger of nuclear weapons, and at the end of the message it was said, "You will improve or disappear." The mystery is added by the fact that at some point the wreckage of the book simply disappeared. Many believe that this was the government's way of hiding and withholding the truth from the public. A lot of people are sure that it was actually a fake, but it was made very professionally and skillfully. But what if this is not the case, and in the 1950s aliens really dropped a small flying saucer on Earth with a message inside? In any case, we need to heed the message, whoever left it. UFOs are not uncommon these days. Not so long ago, the Pentagon said that the number of reports of UFO sightings exceeds 650. And from 2004 to 2021, there were 144 UFO sightings. That's pretty intense, isn't it? Here we must understand that it's not necessarily aliens or something like that, because a UFO is an unidentified flying object. It can be anything in the sky that could not be identified. The US government hid this fact for a long time, but a few years ago it revealed 3 secret short videos featuring unidentified flying objects. The first one shows US military personnel watching in amazement an object moving at a speed of more than 124 miles per hour against the wind. As for me, it looks like a spinning top or even a flying saucer, only inverted. On the second clip, an object is moving which is impossible to recognize at all. It's far away and looks like a moving dot. And about the same object is shown in the third clip. Here's another interesting clip, which was shot not at such high altitude. A spherical object was caught on camera, and the camera immediately followed it. It doesn't have any wings, there are no engines either, but the object is moving very fast. The U.S. Navy confirmed the authenticity of all these records, so there can be no question of fakes. But what was it? Some believe that the Pentagon has published a video featuring drones or weather balloons, but many are sure that this is just a cover story and the truth is different.
It's always a drone.
That's
or a
an alien
balloon.
UFO. Even people close to the Pentagon confirm this. For example, this year, U.S. intelligence veteran David Grush told the public that the U.S. is hiding extraterrestrial finds from the public. According to him, there are intact and partially intact aircraft of alien origin in Washington, D.C. that have either successfully landed or crashed.
I don't believe it. There's no way. There's no way that the government is hiding aliens from us. I just don't believe it. Do you believe it?
Of alien origin in Washington, D.C. that have either successfully landed or crashed. According to Grush, the Pentagon has been hiding such finds for decades and using them for its own purposes. He assures that the U.S. uses the wreckage and various alien artifacts to improve the capabilities of its military, since extraterrestrial technologies are much more advanced than ours. Moreover, Grush said that intelligence agencies have non-human biological material, that is, alien remains. According to him, all these secret programs are classified, and those who try to get to the truth will be immediately eliminated.
Oh, snap.
Let's leave UFOs and aliens alone. There's something else worth talking about. A mysterious village. In the last century, Robert Garcet, a fan of archaeology and architecture, decided to realize a project in the Belgian Fort Aben Amel. Not far from the local fort, he decided to build a huge castle. Garcet and his team of workers built the castle for 15 years and constructed the building for 7 levels, 5 above the ground and 2 below it. We're interested in the underground level because during the work, the team of workers came across a mysterious network of tunnels. As Garcet walked through them, he saw cave-like structures that reminded him of a village. The find is interesting, but in general, there's nothing unusual. Similar underground settlements have been found before. However, no one had ever found exactly like this before. Garcet, being an amateur archaeologist, studied the layer, analyzed it, and determined that the village must be 70 million years old. Garcet also found various artifacts there, mostly primitive figurines carved from stone, as well as the skull of a mosasaur, a marine reptile and a very dangerous prehistoric predator that died out along with the dinosaurs. All this contradicted world history, and in order to confirm or refute his research and make sure of everything for sure, Garcet invited professional archaeologists to the site, but none of them ever appeared. Garcet is no longer alive. We could have explored this village these days, but it's too late. By a mysterious coincidence, the village was destroyed by an explosion in a mine before it could be thoroughly explored. Moreover, excavations in that area are now prohibited by law, allegedly so as not to affect an important cultural layer. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Again, we have prohibitions and concealments. Maybe we're again faced with a situation where it's not profitable for someone to have such an unusual place explored by professionals. Someone believes that this place was actually known to archaeologists for a long time, but the finds didn't fit into the officially accepted interpretation of ancient history, so archaeologists kept silent about this village for a long time. And when it was found, it was deliberately destroyed so that no one could get to the truth.
Just let it
Places
out.
where revolutionary finds are discovered are cool, but what about a place where hundreds of thousands of people disappear?
Movie.
Where do you think 100,000 people might disappear without a trace? Maybe in an uncharted and dangerous area? Some laboratory with illegal experiments? Or in a mystical region? Actually, it's much simpler than that. What's more, you all know the place well, because it's Mexico. It would seem that Mexico is far from the worst country in the world. It's big enough, famous enough, and tens of thousands of people go there as tourists. It is, but Mexico's a country of contrasts. While the tourist areas are relatively safe and beautiful, the real Mexico is a nightmare for many people. Not long ago, a sad record was broken in the country. 100,000 people have been reported missing since such cases began being reported in 1964.
What kind
Every
of people?
day, about 40 people go missing in the country.
40
Unfortunately,
people a day.
sometimes tourists who simply came to relax and try some real tequila and burritos are among them.
People, huh?
One of the main reasons for the disappearances is the cartels, as well as Mexican criminal gangs. They've long been in the business of kidnapping and ransoming people. Not only people involved in crime go missing, but also ordinary people who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The gangs and cartels are not coy with witnesses and eliminate them without a second thought. But not all disappearances are related to cartels and gangs. Many tourists go missing, deciding to go to unexplored corners of the country, of which there are many. Hiking on a wild road without a guide almost guarantees tragedy. Finally, police inaction and late prosecution play a major role in missing persons in Mexico. Mexico's not the only place where people often go missing. There are other places in the world, including places more unexpected than the Mexican wasteland, and mystical regions that take people away forever. Stay tuned to find out where else people often go missing, and where it's best to never go as a tourist.
Okay. Now, I'm not too much worried about being taken, because, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go somewhere. If something happens. What are some places that you're afraid to go? I've had to go places I didn't even know I could go.
Not far from Mexico, through Guatemala, is the well-known state of Honduras. Many people know literally nothing about this country except its name. In fact, it's one of the most dangerous places on the planet. The crime rate in Honduras is off the charts. Robberies here are so frequent that the police are unable to cover all cases and deal with all crimes. Even in a major city, there's a chance of getting into a bad situation. Let alone Honduras's second largest city, San Pedro Sula, which is recognized as the most dangerous place on Earth. The streets in the city are like GTA in reality. Criminals are constantly shooting, stealing cars, blowing things up, and robbing people. But that's half the trouble. In Honduras, people very often go missing. The situation is much like in Mexico. Criminals eliminate both their competitors and random witnesses. They kidnap them, take them to an unknown destination, and dispose of them in such a way that no trace is left behind. Missing persons also occur in ordinary parks in Honduras. Even travel agencies warn about this. Girls are particularly at risk. In Honduras, it's not recommended for them to travel without the company of men. Panamanian hiking trails. Central America never ceases to surprise unpleasantly. The beautiful country of Panama, famous for its Panama Canal, is also known for missing persons. Especially dangerous are the hiking trails that tourists love so much. There's much to see in Panama. The nature's excellent, but it's better to be on the guard than not hike alone or in pairs. The most famous and shocking case is the disappearance of Chris Kremers and Lizanne Froon. In 2014, the girls hiked in Panama, but made the mistake of not bringing a guide and normal food and water supplies. On April 1st, they went missing. A few days later, the search for the girls began, but the search was only half successful. It became known that the girls were dead, but it's still unclear what exactly happened to them and who was to blame. Mountains of Venezuela.
Wow.
Venezuela is hardly a stable and safe country. There are regular riots and the economy's in trouble. The authorities are so concerned about the turmoil that they've built separate areas for tourists where visitors can feel relatively safe. But even there, everything's not well. Tourists can disappear right in a tourist zone, and if they go beyond its limits, the chance of disappearance increases. This is due to the crime that prevails in Venezuela. The mountains of Venezuela are no less dangerous. History knows many cases where tourists set out on a hike in the mountains of Venezuela and disappear forever.
Oh, it's going so well. What happened?
Many locals believe that the mountains of Venezuela are mystical places, and they attribute the disappearances to the shenanigans of UFOs, aliens, mysterious beings, and so on. Maybe they're right.
Oh, wow.
In any case, when going to explore the Venezuelan nature, it's important to be in the company of several people, and exploring the area on your own is out of the question. Parks of America. America's parks are famous for their beauty, landscapes, and amazing places. But it's not all so rosy. It turns out that America's national parks are also places where people very often go missing. More than 1,100 hikers have gone missing in recent decades. Amazingly, many of them were experienced hikers with the right skills, but they still disappeared without a trace and were never found. David Paulides, a former U.S. police officer, has been researching mysterious cases of disappearances in the United States, Canada, and Europe since his career ended in 2008. In particular, he dealt with mysterious disappearances in America's national parks. David wrote in his books how he repeatedly tried to get lists of missing persons from the U.S. National Park Service, but was told no such list existed. Unofficial sources demanded huge sums of money from the former police officer. According to him, even those who were found in the parks didn't remember the details of their disappearance. The policeman assures that children disappeared more often than others, who seemed to disappear into thin air as soon as their parents turned away for a couple of minutes. He also wrote in his research that people disappeared before hurricanes. Highway 16. From the outside, Highway 16, located in British Columbia, Canada, looks quite ordinary. It's a typical American highway with markings, curbs, and so on. But this highway is not at all typical and ordinary. Because not on every road people go missing regularly. Hence the second name of the Highway of Tears. People disappear along about 500 miles between Prince George and Prince Rupert. For more than 50 years, someone has gone missing or died here without a trace. Because of this, you can often see billboards and posters on the highway warning about the dangers of hiking in the area, as well as depicting people who are missing. There are big rewards ready to be given for finding them, but it all seems to be to no avail as people go missing forever.
Wow.
What's interesting is that only women or young girls disappear here. This suggests that a maniac with clear motives is on the road.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a good theory, but there are several nuances. First, how can one maniac have been active for 50 years in a row? Does age still allow him to actively eliminate his victims? Second, even if so, how is it that no one has caught him in half a century? And thirdly, how is he able to cover the entire 500 miles of track? It seems to me that either there are several maniacs and there's a whole gang on the highway, or the truth is something else. Share your thoughts in the comments.
Ooh.
Haiju.
Ooh, what could that
Spooky.
be? What could that be? Would it be other? I mean, it could be a whole family. It could be a whole thing. They could be selling them. Peter Pan makes you think of that. I don't know. What do you think? Where do people go when they go missing? Doo.
Places where people go missing are not only found in the Western Hemisphere. One of them, for example, can be found in China. Haiju Valley is a typical Asian place. Bamboo, neat roads, and fog.
Not a beautiful place.
There's a
with
sense
fog,
of peace
huh?
from all this. But the
snow,
truth
though.
is, it's better not to go to Haiju. This valley is recognized as one of the most powerful anomalous zones on the planet where people regularly disappear. It all began in the middle of the last century. In 1949, a detachment of 30 Chinese army soldiers disappeared in the valley. In 1962, a group of geologists disappeared here without a trace. Only the guide who accidentally fell behind his group was able to get out of the valley. In 1966, 6 military cartographers disappeared in Haiju. One of the team members was found, but his condition was on the verge of psychosis and he couldn't explain anything. Finally, in 1976, 2 foresters disappeared in the valley. It was noticed by their colleagues. They got a little behind and saw the fog literally engulf the foresters. The disappearances continue to this day. Scientists are still trying to make sense of the anomalous valley phenomenon, but they still don't know why people keep disappearing here. A lot of people have gone missing in China's Haiju Valley over time, but their numbers are nothing compared to the next place in this episode. Not counting countries, this is where the most people have gone missing all the time. And no, it's not the infamous Bermuda Triangle, although it is a triangle, only the Alaskan one. It's much less famous than the Bermuda Triangle, but by all accounts, much more dangerous. Its boundaries are marked by the cities of Juneau, Anchorage, and Utqiagvik. As in the Bermuda Triangle, unexplainable things and mysterious phenomena affecting disappearances happen here. For example, in 1951, the Douglas DC-4 plane disappeared without a trace in the Alaska Triangle. Despite a long search, no wreckage, passengers, or anything else was found. This crash is still one of the most mysterious in U.S. history. Other planes and just people who crossed the border of the triangle have disappeared here as well. More than 16,000 people have disappeared in all that time. That's a lot more than in the Bermuda Triangle. It's not known why this is so. Some believe that abnormal electromagnetic radiation is to blame. Some believe that the cause is a geopathic zone. Someone thinks that the military conducting secret tests are responsible for the disappearance. And someone believes that people are eliminated by Kushtaka, an otter man, a mythical creature from Native American folklore. Anything's possible. Nevada is home to the legendary Area 51 military base, which is surrounded by mysteries. Is it a coincidence that another mystery can be found in this state, the Nevada Triangle? Within the triangle, you can find several national parks. Airplane wreckage can probably be found here somewhere, but so far it's not been possible to do so. And that's surprising, because about 2,000 planes have gone missing in the Nevada Triangle in 60 years. That's many times more than planes disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. What's disturbing is the fact that all 2,000 planes seem to have vanished into thin air. No wreckage, no bodies, and no other objects or clues have been found. Area 51 is inside the mystical triangle, and many people are convinced that the disappearances of planes are the work of base staff. That's all, guys. What do you think happens to missing people? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.
What? That's a lot of missing people. That's a lot of places for people to go missing. Alright, well. Round 1. Infinity. Scientists are hiding these recent discoveries from us. What did you think? Would it be such a shocker if history was changed? I don't know. Get at me. Peace.